Hi, welcome to TXODM Garage. I'm your host, Will. Today is going to be our first episode of Project Restore Revive on this 67 Camaro SS clone. Now, this car was a running and driving car when it was parked in a garage in the year 2000. And it's been buried under a bunch of stuff ever since. I just rescued this car earlier this actually, it is now January 2nd, so I rescued this car at the beginning of last month and brought it down here to hopefully give it a second life. So this car originally was a regular V8 2-speed power glide car, and between 98 and 2000, according to the paperwork, this car was completely redone inside and out to make a rather convincing 350 SS clone. Now, it didn't do everything 100% right on the car, but from 20 feet away, and if you don't know Camaros very well, it's pretty convincing. It fooled me at first. I'd only heard about the car in passing here and there, but never got a chance to really get in and look at it. And all I ever saw, up until we unburied this car, was just the rear quarter panel and a little bit of the gas tank. So now, we're going to be going over this car, getting it on the road, and you're going to be following the whole journey between where it is now to where I kind of want to move it to as kind of a pro touring car. Something that I can drive daily and take road trips in. It's kind of what I want to do with this. Now, because this is a SS clone and not a real SS, I don't have to feel bad about making it what I want. So, I'm going to bring you all over here and we're going to take a look at what all we're going to be starting with right now on episode 1 and in the coming episodes of this project. Well, I just got a call from the locksmith, and that lock cylinder is ready, which means they were able to make a key for it. So I think that's what we're going to do next, is we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull this door panel first. That way I can pull this lock cylinder and go drop it off when I pick up the other one. So hopefully I'll be able to have door keys and ignition here in the next couple days or so. But hopefully I'll be able to open up that trunk today. So let's get into this door panel. Alright, so when you're doing this, you don't need many tools to first of all get this door panel off or to get the cylinder out. So two tools you are going to need. You're going to need a Phillips, big enough for these screws. And then also you're going to need some type of hook tool, because on the door handle and the window lever, there is little C-clips that hold these on, and having something that's hooked like this makes it a lot easier. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull off the door handle here. Alright, so now I got a broader Phillips, so we should be able to get this out here. I'm doing this left-handed, it's a bit tricky. Okay. That's one screw and it looks more or less just like a wood screw. That off. Our handle should come right off, just like that. Now you can look, this appears to be a reproduction plastic handle. Could be original, don't know. But I do know on the paperwork, there is a lot of the paperwork for a lot of the replacement parts that went into like the door panels and the interior and stuff. However, they didn't replace everything. They didn't replace some of these A-pillars and stuff. Let's put that down. Now, it's hard to see these little clips in here. So I was right, the clips should be 90 degrees. Problem is, whoever installed this door handle put it on the wrong angle here, and I know my head's gonna be in the way. Trying to see where the clip is to begin with. Okay, I see it. Okay, so there's the clip. Okay, I think I got it. Yeah, there we go. And there we go. So the way this works is this little clip here kind of pops on to right here like so. And then these little notches engage on this little groove right here. So when I install this, I will be putting this door handle on properly like so, to where it opens up like it's supposed to. But you really don't want to lose these clips. You can get them, but you don't want to have to get them. Now, this here should be a little easier because it's oriented in a slightly better angle. Okay. So that's off. Now I gotta find that clip real fast. So now, you should have a couple clips. Let me turn this off. You should have some snap clips that hold on the door panel itself, the cardboard. Now you want to be careful. And then you could use your little tool here. But you want to be careful because you want to be able to reinstall this. So, start from the bottom. You want to be careful because you want to be able to reinstall. Okay, there's one. Okay, got the second one. Let's come over here. That one's already popped. And that one's popped. Now we should be able to there we go. And what do we have going on here? Alright. Set that stock here in the back. Now this kind of concerns me just a little. And this is also your retaining spring for your thing. Now this concerns me a little bit here. I don't understand quite why somebody would do this here, so it's gotta come off. My guess is maybe when they were painting, they put this on and just like, I don't know, not bothered taking it off. Who knows? That's gonna go over there. E. So now we should be able to get to that lock cylinder. Now there's gonna be a little clip that holds the lock cylinder in. Oh, you see that's not even entirely attached right there as it is. So that's supposed to be like that, but that don't matter really. So you can get in here and use a short screwdriver. Let me get a short screwdriver. But let me show you kind of what we got going on here. I'm gonna have to take you off of this light. Put you on the flashlight. So you can see there is the lock cylinder, and that little clip right there is what we have to pull off for the cylinder to come out. So let me get a big flathead and we'll do that real fast. So before I mess with a flathead, I'm going to go ahead and try this here. I think I might be able to hook this on that clip and pull it free. But I need some light. So I'm going to kind of set up my phone in here somehow. Okay, I can leave it right here. Like so. Okay, so let me see if I can get this in here. Try that smaller one. Get you in here and try. Yep, that's working just right. Okay, should be able to work that off by hand. There's that clip. Let's see. Should be able to just kind of wiggle it out. And there we go. There's our lock cylinder, just like it was. Now the door handle here, this the lock. it goes inside of this here, so when you turn it, it turns like that. It wasn't inside of there, so that's some issues we were having with this lock to begin with. So I'm gonna run off to the locksmith, go pick up my other one, and drop this one off, and hopefully here in the next day or two, I'll have a full set of keys for this entire car. Alright, so I'm back now from the locksmith. I got my key back from them for the glove box. Now, in theory, this key should work for the trunk, because in 67 through 69, a lot of the 60s and 50s cars, you got two sets of keys. You got a key for your ignition and a key for your doors. That key was paired together. Then you had a second key that went to your glove box and your trunk. So the kind of idea was that you could give a valet or your shop or something just the key to your doors and ignition, and then they can't rummage through your stuff in your glove box or your trunk. So, moment of truth. Well, it's not looking promising here. Well, I don't think we're going to be this lucky. In theory, this should work. I'm going to try it with the door and let's see, maybe this was rekeyed to match the doors and ignition. Alright, so because that trunk key didn't work on the trunk, just the glove box, there's one other thing I'm going to try to do before I have to drill out that lock, and that's to pull out the back seat completely and see if I can see in through the trunk from the inside, and then try to see if I can manually move that latch to open up the trunk from the inside. It's going to be hard. I already broke the back seat lower down, so I'm going to unbolt the back, and we're going to go from there. Alright guys, so we did manage to get into the trunk from the inside. I'm going to bring you all in here. You can see the trunk is actually pretty nice in here. I already pulled the rear lock cylinder out, so I can take that and get a key made for that. Seeing how apparently, you know, they don't work. I found out why one of my lights isn't working, because, you know, it's not even got a bulb in it. But now that we're into the trunk, we can see some evidence that there's been some body work done here. So first of all, a lot of putty and stuff right here, stuff that most people won't see. But it looks like this rear quarter here, judging by all the sealant that was used, might have been crunched in at one point. And of course, we got a lot of rust up here on this trunk lid. So I'm probably going to look and see about getting a new trunk lid eventually. It's nothing that's that big of an issue right this second. It's not anywhere that's visible. So, you know, I'm not worried about it right now, but eventually this is going to get a new trunk. Everything that's got rust is going to be replaced. But otherwise than that, everything's pretty solid. Now what I'm thinking about doing is my battery box is going to go right here. Pending I look in here, make sure there's nothing that's going to interfere with you know, bolt holes going through. It's going to go right here on top of this section right here. That should be plenty of room and tucked out of the way, and I'll still have quite a bit of room to actually use the trunk. So that's where it's going to go. That's probably going to be on a couple videos away when I get the parts in. Now, as you can see back here in the back seats, well, under the back seat, it's pretty nasty back here. There's quite a bit of dirt underneath the back seat, chunks of foam, stuff like that. So I'm going to bring the vacuum cleaner in here, and I'm going to vacuum all this up before I put the back seat back in. You can see this is some of that stuff I'm talking about, where they kind of just half-assed the build on here when they did the restoration. This here is all original floor panel and stuff like that. They didn't clean out the inside at all. They sprayed the trunk, but that's really about it. So I'm almost willing to bet that up underneath all this carpet is probably just the same as this. Nasty stuff. Now, eventually, I'm thinking about possibly removing this old, the old original bracing here out of the way, and then doing custom cross members down through here, tubular cross members that are removable, that bolt on, bolt off. That way, if I ever get locked out of the trunk again, I can easily just take off a section or take out the whole section and then squeeze my way into the trunk to unbolt it. Now, I kind of discovered something. I came to a realization last night when I was messing with all this stuff here. I think this car was originally a drag car, and the company that built this car bought it probably pretty cheap. And there's a couple reasons I think that. First of all, here on the quarters, right at the back of where the black glass meets the body, there are small little hair fractures, cracks. And that's real common on these Camaros from hard launches and drag racing. Now, the pictures I have of the build, from just before it went to paint, it had pizza cutters and drag slicks on the back of it. And it was just primed. So I'm thinking that somebody had built this as a drag car, raced it, maybe hit the corner on, the wall or something like that, and then the shop bought this car relatively cheap and did the body work and all that stuff in order to do the restoration. I have no pictures of it before body work, before that prime, just before paint. And the other thing that I have is I have the notes on it that has the engine, cam, and all that stuff in it. And on the engine notes, it's listed as board 80 over, which is a wrap board. That's the last board you can do before you end up sleeving it, and a lot of drag racing guys do that one last bore in order to get some more passes out of their engine before they end up having to sleeve it or scrap it and get a new block. So that's all leading me to believe that this car was a drag car that was raced, beat up, retired, and then the shop bought this car relatively cheap, I'm assuming, in order to do a full restoration. Oh, and the other thing that makes me think that is, I have all the receipts for all the interior parts that they bought for this car. And they bought everything. They replaced almost every single piece of interior that was in this car. So my thought is likely it was completely stripped for drag racing, and they had to buy everything in order to put an interior in it, which seems kind of pointless. Why not? This was in 99, 98. You could have found a decent roller still for a good price back then. I mean, I found in the early 2010s, I was still seeing rollers and stuff like that for $6,000. So, I don't know why they went that route, but that's the route that they went. Anyways, I'm gonna grab that vacuum cleaner and start vacuuming this stuff up. Put on here, it should have its own little thing. The wheels pulled off to do the brakes, and then discovered that the cylinders are completely toast.